Alright, this VOD review is for Danman212, and they were asking about whether or not this game is their fault. My team was flaming me, and that happens a lot, right? So what we need to understand is it's a team game, right? And if someone's blaming you for not doing X, Y, or Z, that means they're incapable of making a bigger impact than any impact. Let's say they were correct that any impact you're not making, right? That means they can't carry hard enough, so they want you to pick up slack and carry them because they're not good enough. Now, that's just kind of a skill issue on them then, right? Maybe there's several things that they could do that would improve the situation. But they're not because they don't know what it is, and likely they're making as many mistakes as you are, or in other games they're having less impact. Sometimes we just have bad games, right? If we're anywhere remotely near our actual skill category, there's a lot of things that can influence whether or not we're successful. So when people are frustrated, they're going to take it out on the lowest hanging fruit, which is generally somebody else or a mistake that they see just one time in the replay viewer because, oh, they were dead, so they were watching you play, or they're going to judge you. And it's not personal and you shouldn't take it. If it bothers you at all, I highly suggest you mute in-game voice and text chat for both teams. Until you get to significantly higher rank, it's not going to matter at all. I want you to think about how many good impacts that it has had in your games and how many bad impacts it's had in your games. And the blame game doesn't help, right? So it doesn't matter if they were flaming you. And quite frankly, this is one game. It doesn't matter if it was your fault. Because we can look at any number of games to see where you carried, right? We can look at the other person's play to see what mistakes they were making, right? We can point fingers all over the place. It was this, it was that, whatever. But in the end, that doesn't matter because this is a singular game, and you need to play hundreds to increase in rank if you really want to climb. You need to practice a lot if you want to get better, right? And that's what those people aren't going to do because they refuse to think past, oh, this person didn't do what I wanted them to do, so we failed, right? It's really important to know that. You're not going to win every game. Sometimes you're going to get frustrated people. People are assholes on the internet. That's the life of it, right? So what instead we can do is, because this is a numbers game, right? You're not going to win 100 million games, but if your goal is to rank up or just improve, it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in the next five games, the next 10 games. No, this is a long-term skill developing project, right? I used the example of someone who had limited time to play games. It's like, well, how many games do you play a week? Well, it's like, 10, maybe 2 sessions of 5. Wow, okay, but with only 2 sessions of 10, if you had a 60% win rate, you'd be lucky to go from gold 3 to gold 2 in just those. And that's in 1 week. And they reset the ranks all the time, right? And that doesn't include any unlucky games, just because maybe you had a bad 2 games, right, that were in your control. Now you have to win 2 more to make up for that. So suddenly we go from 11 to 15 to 20 games just to go up in rank. So that's why playing consistently and being responsible for yourself and trying to have less deaths and more impact is what actually matters, not what some rando says for this one game. Okay? Now, what can we do with these games, right? Well, first, we can make sure we ignore them. But 2, we can look at things that we did that we could do slightly better. And there are 2 things that have stood out to me about you and the mistakes that you probably want to work on first. All right, and I'm going to condense them into positioning and awareness, and they kind of feed on each other. So what happens is the flankers tend to get in behind you, and you tunnel vision on them, forgetting what your job is. Your job isn't necessarily to pay them more attention than they deserve, right? Your job is to deal with them in the most efficient way possible, and sometimes that's just getting them to buzz off and continue to do your job, right? So what is our job? Well, we're a support. We can heal people, right? We see these guys down here being so goofy, right? This is really goofy. This is low rank shenanigans, right? This shouldn't be happening. But my question is, if they're down there, why are you up here? At minimum, one of you two should be kind of like right next to the tanks, right? So imagine if this wasn't a Psylocke and it was a Bucky or something, they just like hook you into the enemy team. I mean, even Emma is capable of getting an elim on one of these people, right? So you're getting dove and you don't have your tanks, and now you're split from your team. So we have to make a choice. Somebody needs to be helping the tanks here. You know, somebody needs to. So what happens is we end up getting distracted by this Psylocke here. Makes us blow our bubble. After we blew this, we really didn't need to use the cloak. I mean, yeah, there's a chance we could have got by them, but if we're paying attention, we shouldn't need it. Now, look what's happening over here. Neither you nor your Jeffrey are helping these, and now Penny's kind of in trouble, right? Okay. Now we're tunneled here. We haven't even checked to see what our tanks are doing at all yet, right? We're still distracted by this. We don't look back one time. Jeff's fine. It's almost impossible to kill Jeff. If he dies there, you have to make a choice. Do I trust Jeff not to be dead here for 1 second while I check at least my tanks? Or do I absolutely have to pocket him? What's going to win me? What's going to win more likely? The Jeff is very unlikely to die. He's at full health. Bucky's here, paying attention to that. My job is done, right? Jeff's not going to die. Bucky's not going to die, at least not immediately. I need to do my job. My job is this. Instead, we chase this. You didn't even do anything there, right? But now look. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, both of them died. It only took that long. It only took a couple seconds, right? So this happens continually with you. You get distracted with these flankers because you're being pressured, and this is exactly what they want. They want to live rent-free in your head and distract you. It's going to become a multitasking problem for you. Something that's going to make that easier is positioning. But supports are required to multitask more and more and more, and Cloak and Dagger is also then going to be relying on the judgment of when to use her cooldowns for what. She's they are a very cooldown reliant character. So if you throw your bubble at your feet, but you didn't need to, right? If you use your invulnerability, but you didn't need to, and then you need it immediately, right? Then you're in trouble because her general healing output is pretty okay. It's not the best, right? So how do we stop this from happening? Well, we need to play with our team, right? If we can see that they're goofing and they're going to play up here, why are we here? We've just isolated ourselves to where any of the divers, like, who's going to help you if the Psylocke gets on you, right? And you're not sure you're going to get her. Say she drops from right here. She could be here by now. She's already died once, right? Magic 2. Right? There's nobody to help you, right? So instead, we should probably, maybe earlier when we knew we weren't going to get jumped, we use our cloak and get up here. Maybe. Makes it harder for them to get to us because now Psylocke or Magic has to dash to get up here, right? Magic can't get up here unless she either walks the long way or she commits her dash, which means then you can fall off. She falls off. Cloak, or cloak back up, whichever the ability's name is, and we're golden again. Now she can't even interact with you for 10 seconds while you're doing your thing, right? Okay? Right. And yet again, we're back here. This is super default, and it's a lot about how teams hold this in lower ranks. It just gets super awkward, right? But we want to be with our team, right? So I think up here for these shenanigans here, if they're going to push around that, you need to be able to go with them, right? You need to be with your DPS. If somebody gets on the point, it's not your job to stop them. You are like the last person whose job it is to stand on this thing. Because if you fall over, your entire team falls apart around you. That's why supports are so critical, right? Because you can do so much healing, you can make people get away with so much BS, but if you die, right, you're going to be slowly picked apart by random damage from the enemy team, especially because people don't know how to play cover, right? We'll go to this example. Okay. Right now, the play is over. You're done, right? You're done. You got to get back to your team. Like, Cloaks continue to do this, and it's really goofy. The only way you would do this is if you were sure your entire team was going to run it down with you and just, like, push W. But there's not really, like, you don't really have a great team to do that. And nobody's really set up other than Penny Parker. Yeah, Bucky ults, but, like let's watch how this goes off, right? He doesn't even ult until you do, right? We've all respawned. We're grouped up. This is good. Coming out. Yep. Jeff needs help. We didn't see that. Now, we heard her yell, but we didn't need to use this first, and we didn't even check what was going on behind us, right? So we start, look, she's still not in our ultimate. She's still not in it. And when she Dark Child, she can two-shot someone. She can right-click dash and insta-kill almost any of your DPS, let alone specifically Moon Knight and probably Bucky and definitely Jeff. Definitely Jeff and Moon Knight insta-kill, just dead, right? So Terror Cloak that, right? Or whatever. But we've gone so early, let's look at what happened behind us, right? This is spooky. Well, we don't want to be up here. They have all this distance. Don't be so obsessed with the point. The reward for winning the previous fight is they get to push the cart a certain amount of distance. You have not earned your next fight yet. This is still in their reward phase. Your next fight should probably be about here after you deal with the magic. The penalty for losing a fight over here is that the cart gets to move to here for free. That's why dying, and that's what you fight for. The cart is the objective. Running straight at it is not going to make it a better situation for you. They have already effectively, because they won this fight, they have already effectively pushed it to here, and this is forcing a bad play to try to prevent them from doing that, right? The point gets to move, it has to move, right? And instead, you come right into the middle of the entire enemy team, right? I'm going to give you a scenario right now. The scenario is Emma sees you. She chokeslams you, kills you instantly by kicking you into the wall. Even if you use Terror Cloak, maybe she's really, really happy about it. Or she kicks you so far out, it would be hard for you to get back, even with your invulnerability, to cover, right? I've done this to cloaks. I can't even count how many times because they don't respect. They're not invulnerable in their ult. She'll grab you. Bucky could hook you, right? Psylocke could insta-kill you. Magic, she can still insta-kill you. This is just quite a bit of healing. She can still spike you for well over 250 damage in less than a second, right? So you could get booped out by Invisible Woman when you try to come back, right? You can just get knocked out of your ult. So you can be insta-killed here, and this Emma, by all rights, should just insta-kill you here. Instead, she aborts to do the ultimate because she freaks out because she doesn't either know any better or her ultimate did. So this ult effectively did nothing to stop this card. This is the objective, right? And it put all of this in danger, right? Because we got really ahead of ourselves, and we didn't pay attention to what was happening behind us. We need to make sure we know what our entire team is doing, right?
One for Steven, one for Jake, one for me.
Came to this. We have to be careful about standing around for that long. Again, what are we going to do about that? Okay, now look what we've done. We have completely isolated ourselves from our entire team, and they couldn't help us if they wanted to. Bucky's hook only goes to here, right? His only effective range is to about here too because his bullets are so slow. She can kill you in less than 2 seconds, even without ult, right? And do it rather safely. So you've now moved away from safety. You've got this thing. You've got this thing, right? You've got this thing. They can all help you, but who's going to help you here? You've intentionally walked over to where you can't be helped anymore, right? Where's good for you then? The spider nest. Yeah, come here. Have her meet the little guys, right? Have her meet the little guys, right? If she wants to fight you, come on over, right? You know she's there. Mission accomplished. I know you're there now. Now I can listen. Now I can keep out. Now maybe I play this pillar instead of the corner, right? Instead, this magic has made exactly one sound, and she has prevented both of you from doing anything for like 10 seconds now. The fight is happening, still happening, and someone dies, and you don't even turn around, right? She's not your job. Don't worry about her if she's not your job, right? Your job is to make sure that your team has the support that they need. Sometimes, yeah, that is your job. Sometimes you have to do damage and peel, and honestly, that's what separates good supports from bad ones. But look, your front line just falls over, and then she comes in anyways and does whatever the heck she wanted to. Now, what if your front line hadn't collapsed? Well, maybe you guys get a better fight here, right? Right? Maybe if both you and Bucky hadn't looked, right? Your thing is in, right? He's chasing that around. Maybe you tear the damage jump on this one. Now she dies. Look, she took like half her life in damage. Look, maybe they die. Look at him. That Groot doesn't have very much hit points, right? 30% damage amp is what I think it is. It's actually obscene. 30% damage amp. He died, like, easily. She's at half health. Maybe they died. But you weren't participating in the fight, right? So they get, you know, they get to live with it. If you got your damage amp on these guys and he onked and just like auto right click, he probably kills their entire team. That would just be such an absurd amount of damage. Then they don't even get to take this fight. Or maybe she does, but now you have another tank to help absorb the damage. It only does 1,200 damage total, right? Your Penny alone has 855, right? It's only dangerous if it hits you twice in a row. It does 150 damage per swing, right? That's why you can, just you guys, if you and Jeff healed each other, could easily sustain through Psylocke's ult, right? Let alone if you cloaked any of it or put your bubble down, right? As long as there is like a reasonable number of people in here, it can be healed through if it's done correctly, but it's barely going to kill Penny if she was in it all by herself, let alone if the two of you were pocketing her. I don't even think it does, because I'm pretty sure you guys outdo 300 DPS, right? So because we were distracted again, that's another example of us being distracted. We're going to move up to here. This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. Now, this fight was super goofy, but what are we going to talk about it? Okay, so you don't need to drop here. If you're gonna step up there, right? That was just really, it's a really goofy low rank fight. But if you're gonna be up there and try to live, like don't drop down. Now, granted, the proper play would have probably been to die like a long time ago. Like as soon as these people went down, your chances of winning that fight without something really weird happening are 0. This is feeding. This is an example of really poor decision gets really ridiculously good results, right? Because you go in here, their invisible woman was doing the same mistake you were doing earlier, which is she was totally separated from her team. She should have jumped up here because unlike you, she doesn't need to use an amazingly valuable one of the only cooldowns she has to defend herself. To do that, she can just do this for free every 6 seconds, and she still has 2 CCs that she can use to keep herself, 3 if you count her third melee, right? So we go up here, and like we again step out of safety. She pulls you, hits you with 1 attack, he 2-shots you. That's how that goes, right? Or he walls you off, and then you're stuck there with them, and then they kill you, right? The only reason this worked is because they were over chasing, they were greedy, they were out of position, and she was out of position, not in a spot to help them. This is like so risky. You should have really regrouped with your team because it was legitimately you 1v5ing into the middle of the enemy team. I guarantee you this will lose 9 times out of 10, right? But you guys are up a Jeff at this point, I believe. Right? Cool. Now, your entire team is over there. This is only huge mistakes on their part that this even remotely plays out, and your Moon Knight has been doing such a good job off-angling this entire game. That's the only reason that anything happens here. That, and if you watch, she walks through your ult, you know, he goes, like, gets hooked by Bucky, or he would still be alive, right? So, like, that's just not a great use of your ult. That's a Hail Mary. You gotta wait for your team. It got good results, but it was not a great play, okay? Now, what about this one? All right. So this is going to be an example, again, of you isolating yourself from your team. Maybe it's not exactly here.
Disappear! Much to prove. You're halfway there.
We're going to watch just a little bit further. All right, coming up here. So first off, I would probably, even on this little high ground right here, would be good. But now, we don't know the magic is behind us, right? So let's see if we saw her, because I didn't, because it was so fast, and I was...
I have met Boston. I suggest we look at her.
Alright. So we're watching. We see her fly past us. This is okay. This is okay. The second we heard armed and dangerous, we needed to ultimate if we were going to do it. Like, we can't wait, because there's two scenarios he's going, or three that he's going to use that. One, somebody gets a big ult like a Groot. Okay? Two, he gets somebody low enough to where he's going to pop him instantly and get a reset instantly, and then maybe get another one. Or three, he's trying to get you guys to back up because he thinks he's going to be able to get a kill. It looks like he figured he could get Moon Knight, so he just went on it, right? So the second, if you were going to ult this fight, now you do it as you hear him ulting, not a second later, right? Now, if you're going to do it, right? You know magic's already on you, right? So that's dangerous. You already know he's low. Your team is pushed up, right? Your Penny just fell over because she's inting, right? If you're going to use your ult, use it now. See? That was just super late. You have to be decisive. Even if it whiffed, it would have been better to do it then than wait for so long. You know, if you didn't have a great read on the situation, your team was alive. They were over half health for a second there. Yeah, slam it and go. And then you do your bad habit again of, well, actually, no, this time you ended here. But, like, game's over. It's time to reset, right? You should just die or get out, right? Now, goofy shenanigans are happening. Okay. This is the timestamp that I thought was the previous one. And what we're going to see here is your team, as a support, you need to be ready for your team to walk around here, right? Because they're going to. So how long does it take you to walk from here to there? 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, 4 1000, 5 1000, and the camera's really fast. I've got the camera speed cranked up, right? A lot can happen in 5 seconds, right? Let alone it's going to be significantly longer than that. So the second they turn around here, they're going to be like, where did my healing feed go? What's going on? And then they're going to fall over and explode, right? Because they thought they were getting heals. Now, what have we done? We've again isolated ourselves from the flanker, right? We're here, he's here. But look, it's double now, right? So now you've been cut off, and you can't heal them if you want to. You can't use your blind for them, your damage amp. You can't use your invulnerability for them. You can't use your bubble for them, right? Because they're already around the corner, right? And again, we isolated ourselves in the back, and the magic just started licking her lips and just jumped us for it, right? So instead, we could play here, right? We could maybe play here, depending, you know? But instead we become like a snack for magic, because she sees us in the middle of nowhere. And I know we weren't intentionally thinking that Penny was there, right? But they died because of us. We could have maybe done something about this, right? Your Moon Knight is getting with absolute murder. Okay, so when there's a flanking assassin, we can't spend too much attention on them, or our front line is going to fall over. We also can't isolate ourselves from our front line, and we need to make it difficult for them to get to us. Magic specifically has trouble getting to high ground because she needs to use one of her best cooldowns to do it, her dash. After she's done that, then you can drop, and if she wants to drop again, then you can use your cloak form to come back up, and she literally cannot do anything to you for like 9 seconds. Maybe she dashes back up. Cool. You put your bubble on yourself. That's great. And then you drop again. And then maybe your Terran Cloak is up again. You come back up, right? Play cover. If you're going to see the magic coming in and be like, ah, crap, guys. Yeah, play this thing. Now she can't charge you and insta-kill you, right? Now you could ring around the rosy a little bit and still kind of do your job as she's trying to get you. If your front line's safe, they're not taking damage. Sure, then blind her and do your damage, right? But by letting them distract you so much, there was just a bunch of opportunities you could have made a much bigger difference, and probably prevented at least one or two of these fights from going poorly. Just like with that alone, like especially this first one, right? If your tanks hadn't died there, there was a great chance you guys continued to hold it. If you continue to hold it, you get one more push, or they get one less push. Maybe they don't even get it as far. Maybe the ultimate economy gets all goofed up, right? So this was very winnable. You're just playing too far back without cover, and you're getting too distracted by the people that are flanking. All right, we're going to take a look at just the first part of this one, and then one key moment here in the second half. Just really quickly, make a couple interesting decisions here, right? So first, why did we use our bubble? This thing is so powerful. Nobody here is taking damage, right? Like, there was no real need to use it yet. This is an exceptionally powerful ability. We can't afford to just throw it, right? Now, we get distracted with the Loki clone, okay? And then our team is actually fighting here, and we don't know what's here, right? We don't know that yet, right? What if Phoenix gets a huge explosion and drops your Scarlet Witch to like half, and Thing gets a punch on, or Johnny Hotbody here slams, right? This bubble would be real useful real fast, right? But we don't have it because we just willy-nilly threw it down. And that's something that is exceptionally, I cannot stress how important cooldown usage and hitting your cooldowns on Cloak and Dagger are, because that's how you'll win games, and that's how you'll carry games. Anybody can stand back and tape down mouse 1 and just throw abilities off cooldown, and that'll get you success in some situations up to a point. But after that, it's going to become the judgment that makes the difference, right? When do you use these? Abilities in hero shooters, this is a hero shooter, abilities are what defines the game and the character. This is not your problem. Nope. You know there's at least 3 people up here, right? You can do nothing to save him. This guy should be fine because you know, yet again, there's at least 3 people up here. He is not going to fall over right away unless he screwed up so bad you wouldn't help him anyways. This is your priority. You are the mama to these little ducklings that are running around. You got to herd them back up, right? But now, yet again, because they got that explosion and some of that spam damage, now you're down another one, which is unlucky, and it's going to make this push harder, right? Because you dropped. You could have done everything you did from up here, supporting them, and then once you guys cleared them out, then you can heal them down here, right? And look, it's still fine. Full health. You didn't really do anything when you dropped, but when you dropped, Scarlet Witch exploded. Now, could you have prevented it? No. And in a lot of situations, would that have turned out differently if it was maybe just slightly different? Yeah. Maybe you could have made the difference. But that's kind of what these good habits and putting yourself into the best situations you can translates into. These are examples of imagine if, right? So the imagine if there is, did I use my cooldowns well? No, I didn't. Okay, imagine if I was in a situation where I needed them. Okay, that would have gone very, very badly, right? Can I imagine how this situation could have made me need those cooldowns? Yes, I could have. So we didn't need it, and we can imagine a very likely scenario where it would have made a difference. It was a bad usage of a cooldown, right? See, you didn't need to hit him with your white wall here. You didn't need to hit him with it, right? He's not gonna die. He's now safe, right? You are now on him. You are healing him. He would have been fine. He wasn't gonna explode there, but you know, you could throw it now. Get all these people, get all of that value, right? That would have been a good use of the cooldown. But he wasn't in any real possibility of dying there, right? Yeah, imagine if you just cast it and it hit Jeff. Jeff gets the spike of healing. Jeff has slightly more hit points. Maybe he lives there, right? Imagine if we'd had a right click. Definitely lives there. You know they're all coming into the bubble. right? They're coming into the choke point. Make them stand in your bubble. I like that you came up here, but you could have started from up here and you could have been maybe with your Jeff, maybe doing everything you did from down here up here, pretty much, right? But I like that you went up here. This is a good use of it. You don't need to be down here anymore. You're just going to take spam damage. You're pretty sure there's nobody up here. That's fine. This is a bad habit that Cloak and Dagger players have. I know there's a way you can kind of bounce them, but you can't heal the wall continually because you're going to need that ammo one of these times. See? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You missed 8 shots, which is hilarious for an auto-aim character, right? Well, look. Okay, 8 shots. If you wanted to keep doing damage to him, probably get him even closer to dead, right? You'd have been able to get this guy back in the action faster, right? Now, this is an ambitious ultimate. What's the likely thing? This is like your other one. You do these weird aggressive ultimates that don't really get you anything, right? So like we didn't even need to be in the situation where he even gets onto us because we could use our fade and get out, or we could just, you know, heal ourselves. So instead, we cast our ultimate to run straight at the enemy team. Our ultimate gets no value for our team, right? They all get, well, mostly get clobbered anyways, right? And Jeff is basically carrying the fight now because the thing got really greedy and overchased, right? Sure, you could say my ultimate made a lot of space, right? Sure, fine. But is that going to be the best use of it? And I've seen you do that again, and I challenge the answer that you need to. I don't think that you would be aware.
I am ready to put on a show.
Wouldn't it be nice to have here? Wouldn't it have been nice to heal the cooldowns and then maybe have them high enough life, and then you hear all the enemy ults come in, and then you counter ult with that? But instead they're going to walk you back, right? I'm kind of okay with this, but yet again, why do we just keep going into the enemy team? If Scarlet Witch didn't kill him, he dunked on you. I know you go around the corner here. He dunked on you if Scarlet Witch hadn't ulted here. I would be very surprised if he didn't. Instead, we could just go back and then take the teleporter. If you didn't know, you can take it while you're channeling, I think. You can take it while you're channeling almost anything else, even Angela Pin and Wolverine grab. So I don't know why you couldn't take it when you're cloak ulting, right? Why are we going further into danger, into all these things that could do bad things to us, right? Well, we don't need to. And I am happy that you had the wherewithal to get into the space, but like, what does it do being up here that it couldn't do being around the point, right? And that's the key point. Like, if you don't win the fight by this line with your ultimate, right, then you're probably not going to win the fight. So putting yourself in risk is not going to be worth it there. Yeah, sure, there's times you can do this and run somebody down, but you have to really, really be careful and know, like, if that's going to work, because more often than not, it's gonna end up being a little bit goofy for you. All right, I have this one flagged. And this goes into the ulti usage again. So they pushed it pretty far. Remember, it's not about not letting them push the cart. I think I talked about this in the previous one. Their reward for winning a fight is to push the cart. They get to push it further if they win the fight. There is a basic imaginary minimum distance that they get to push it if they win a fight. And you have to respect that. Here, they just won a fight, and they just capped. And now they get to push it further. Why? Because both of our tanks are dead. They get, at minimum, 9 seconds of free cart push because they killed the thing. That's it. They get at minimum 9. Now, it takes him 10 or 15 seconds to run back, maybe. So now they get 19. Well, there's only 159 left, right? So we're starting to eat into significant percentages of the time we have to play the game. So why are we here? If she kills us, then he respawns. then we respawn, and now we're 10 seconds behind him, right? This is goofy, right? That you should die here. Like, you should just be dead. You should have just left. The second that they capped and they killed Thing, and you guys were all staggered out, you needed to leave and regroup with your team and wait for your tanks. Okay? Instead, we put ourselves in this really weird spot, and we ult. The door just now finished opening, right? And they can only just now start pushing the card. Your team hasn't even regrouped yet.
I am ready to
And this is just so weird, right? So even if you kill them, let's say that this isn't like letting you get away with murder. Even if you kill them, if you die, it takes you to run from spawn all the way over here. Remember, this is sped up, right? It takes you this long to get back. You know how long it takes them to get back? Cool, you killed him. All right, here. 5 seconds. Okay, here. Right? So this doesn't even do anything, right?
I was worried.
The only reason that any of this is actually even taking this long is because of lower ranked shenanigans that you're making risky plays because it's working now, but they won't work often and they won't get you good results by the end of it, right? So now what are you going to do when Psylocke has ult? What are you going to do when Mr. Fantastic has ult? What are you going to do the next time he gets ult or the next time Lynn gets ult, right? So we have to plan for these things. We can't put ourselves into a position where we're likely to die for nothing, really, right? If they want to feed, that's fine. You have to be alive with your tanks or your team is going to feed, and this will continually happen, right? That part at most would have moved here until your team could flat out just stop it right here at this doorway using this room if they wanted to, right? And then you'd all be together. Instead, it's a big risky play to push in here and do what you guys did. So I hope you found that useful. The big takeaways are when there's flankers, don't split yourself from your team. Be really careful about using your aggressive ultimates and make sure you're going to get value for them. When the enemy team wins a fight, they get cart push. Don't try to force it. That's their reward. They got their reward. Let them have it, and then come and recontest as a team. Don't try to stagger, and don't try to force things. You're forcing things with your ult, and by forcing things, you're going to make more consistently poor decisions than making better decisions that are going to have more likely good results. So I hope you found that helpful. All in all, you're doing a great job. Just mind the cooldowns, mind your positioning, and consider what you're trying to get out of your ultimate.